Though I am a professional driver, I am not a certified driver's education teacher. My goal is to share my experience and hopefully put safer drivers on the road with me. However, I'm only human, and your decisions are ultimately your own. Blue Forge Films, The Road to Safety, and me, Ty Smith, cannot be held liable for your own actions. Take responsibility and be safe.
Hi there. Welcome back to The Road to Safety. In this episode, I will be talking about legal driving maneuvers amongst other topics. Now, I could show you via animation or drawing, but I'm not so good with drawing, nor do I know how to animate. So instead, I have Hot Wheel cars and laminated pieces of paper. Now, the first thing that I really want to talk about is four-way stops. And you can see that it's represented by these lines as the stop here mark. So, say you're rolling up to the stop sign and you're the only car around. Well, what you do is that you stop, look both ways, and make sure that no other cars are coming, and then you start going. Or you do whatever driving maneuver, like you make a right turn, or you make a left turn. But if a vehicle comes up before you do, say you guys are both rolling up, and this guy rolls up before you do, and is stopped, if the other person is smart, he'll probably stop and wait for you to stop, so then he doesn't run the risk. If you blow the red, that's a bad deal. So if he stopped, and then you need to roll up, stop at the line, and you need to wait here until he goes. Pretty straightforward, right? So what happens if you both roll up at the same time? General rule of thumb is that the person to the right of you goes first. So the red car is to the right of the hot rod, so he has the right of way, like so. And that's pretty much how you handle a four-way stop. Pretty straightforward, but make sure you stop. You do not blow the stop sign. You just do not. The reason why is because you don't know if a car thinks that he's already clear and starts to go, and then you just go right through and then clip him. Or say, for instance, that not all four-way stops look exactly like this. Like, there are four-way stops that they're sort of blind corners, and you cannot exactly see a vehicle that comes up until it's there. I should know, because one time that somebody went up to a four-way stop that I came up to, and he just totally blew the stop sign, and if I didn't catch him out of my peripheral vision, he would have hit me, and that would have been a bad deal. But that's why I want to make sure to get the point across. You always stop at a stop sign, because somebody could really get hurt in that situation. Either that, or you bend up your car in somebody else's and, they're not happy with you. Now, another thing I wanted to talk to you all about is uncontrolled four-way stops, or uncontrolled four-way intersections. Now, what that means is that there's no traffic lights nor stop signs. It's just an intersection like this. So, with no other vehicles around or available, you can literally just keep on driving without stopping. But it's a very tricky situation because everybody assumes that, there's nobody there, and so these two might be rolling up and don't see each other, and then they just assume that they're going to go through, and then either kaplow or kaplow, all depending on speed. At least the safe way to go that I do is that even though that it's an uncontrolled four-way stop, I usually slow down to not stops, but to a slower roll. And I'm just, looking both ways before I cross the street, kind of like what you do on a crosswalk. But if there is another vehicle that you see, and hopefully he sees you, then you treat it like a regular four-way stop with stop signs. So say you both see each other, both come to a stop, same time, he is the one to the right, so he has the right of way, so he just goes off into the distance like that, and then he goes. Not much to it, but you can get into a sticky situation around here. Anything uncontrolled has that certain unpredictability. Okay, so for this, let's just, pretend that there are stoplights. So I'm just gonna draw a line from here to here, here to here, here to here, and here to here. This is the intersection area. Mainly, what I want to say is don't run those pesky red lights, because if you are unlucky enough, if you run a stop light that is illuminating red, they'll have a red light camera on it, and you'll know it if they do have it because it'll take a picture. It takes a picture of your car and your license plate, and it sends a $300 fine to your home address, and so that's usually never fun to pay. Or you can get really unlucky and say these guys have a green, and so they start going, but you run the red light. Where else are you going to go? into these two. Usually, if you run into a red light, you need to stop. I know this is all trivial, but it's important to understand. Another important thing is do not run the amber. Let's just sort of draw a little example. I'm drawing upside down, so forgive me if it's not exactly accurate, but it's mainly just a box with 3 lights on it. You've got your red, your yellow, and your green. Say, like, if the red is showing, of course, that means stop. Green light means go. Have you ever played red light, green light before? But the yellow one, it doesn't mean stamp the throttle and go like a bat out of hell. The red one's coming. It means caution, red is coming up. You should probably slow down. It's not really meant for people to speed up. It's meant to warn people that a red light is coming up shortly. And so then it's supposed to give them enough time to make the decision. Do they either need to hit the brakes or speed up a little bit and go across the intersection? Because there is that point of no return. I'm not saying if you see a yellow light, no matter what, stop. I'm saying, just be smart and use your common sense. Okay, now let's assume that you're coming up to a intersection with 2 left turn lanes. Now what I mean is that one sucks you off into the lane closest to you when you are turning, and the second lane usually turns into the second lane. And there's usually marks in the road. It's sort of a guide to keep you on track. But the main thing I want to say here is that I see people all too often veer out of their sort of lane of travel and into like the second lane or whatever. You should probably get into whatever turn lane you want before you execute the turn. Like, say if you want to end up here, you should be here instead of here. What I mean by that is that if you two are going along and start making that turn, if you start veering off into the middle lane right here, then you're going to clip this person right here if they do not see you. Chances are they probably will and hit on the brakes and be mad at you. But there is also that certain chance that they won't see you do that and they won't know it until you make contact. So keep it in your lane and you won't anger other people on the road. So the next situation I'd like to talk about is uncontrolled left turns. Now, every once in a while you'll see these, or depending on where you drive or where you live, you'll see these a lot. You mainly see them like in small town USA, or 2-lane highways, but like there's a mall complex over to one side. So there's either turn lanes or these little puppies, which I cannot remember the name of these, but I just call them the median. So what you do is that you roll up and you're like, oh, I want to turn left, say here. What you do is that you just go into this lane and you stop. And so what that does is that it clears this lane for forward traffic, so more cars can drive on past without him to get in the way. Now, what this guy has to do is wait until he gets a clearing. So he may have to wait a while, depending on traffic or the time of day or whatever, but it doesn't matter how long you wait, you have to make sure it is safe to pass. So once you get a big enough gap, say this, and he's rolling up slow, then you go. And one thing that I do want to add is once you start going, don't just putt into where you want to go. Once you're in oncoming traffic, you're in live traffic, so get your butt moving, which I mean is that get on throttle and just avoid that incursion time as much as possible. Because if you dilly-dally, these guys over here have the right of way. And if you're here while they're there, if you're lucky, they'll stop. But if you're unlucky enough, they'll keep on going until it's too late and clip you. And it could be bad or worse because either way, somebody's getting pissed. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you are making whatever lane change, even though that it's going into this median, you need to turn on your turn signal and keep it on, even though that most modern cars nowadays have automatic turn signal cutoffs. But you want to make sure that your turn signal is going for as long as you're in the median. That's showing everybody your intentions. And also, this is not another lane of travel. You cannot keep drive in this lane. When you're in this lane, you are waiting to turn into, say, a driveway on the other side of this live lane. If you just drive on down, A, you'll be a potential jerk, and B, if 50 sees you pulling this crap, he's gonna pull behind you and pull you over. And then you're in for a world of hurt. So most, if not all, of the driving situations that I've shown you is pretty trivial. I mean, this is Traffic Course 101 that you probably already know, but it's always nice to have a refresher. Over time, driving is a perishable skill. Like, you might be the best parallel parker that you know of, but if you do not parallel park for, say, a year, all of a sudden if you try to parallel park again, you're gonna suck at it. You're gonna be like going back and forth 4 or 5 different times. So these situations, like, yes, you will run into stop signs frequently, or the median turn lane, or say the 2 left-hand turn lanes, or the intersections with the traffic signals. But mainly it's all about just use your common sense. Your vehicle doesn't come equipped with its own brain. Use your own. And that about does it for this episode of The Road to Safety. I hope to see you next time. Take care.